Hello?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm walking back from lunch right now, so um I might not have the video on the whole time or anything, at least until I get back, but I wanted to at least let you finish what you were saying there. Um if you could just maybe start again from the beginning so I
Yeah,
can make sure I
definitely.
fully get it.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, right now I'm making a video, basically involving Ormus, the relation between Ormus, the cerebrospinal fluid, amniotic fluid, and urine, human urine. And basically, at least what I've discovered, or at least realized, is that the amniotic fluid, which is majority urine, is our own urine being looped together. Urine has Ormus in it, as well as a bunch of different minerals, enzymes, and vitamins in it. And then that then turns into the constituents within our cerebrospinal fluid. And then the cerebrospinal fluid is relative to the creation of Ormus, because Ormus, what would you do to create Ormus? And the most simplified method is you give it water that's being torsioned. So you give it that vortex and an abundance of minerals. So you can source them from sea salt. And then what you do from there is you create an alkaline environment through carbonate, something like baking soda. And then through that, you then end up creating Ormus at the surface of the water. And then Ormus at the surface of the water is something that you can actually utilize to basically tincture it out into a liquid solution. So basically, with that also, with the cerebrospinal fluid, lining basically our entire or vertebrae, the cerebrospinal fluid lining the entire vertebrae, it's like connected to the actions of our nervous system, which also, seawater can be utilized as a conductor for electricity. So the cerebrospinal fluid is a conductor of bioelectricity. And then that bioelectricity is also being coordinated through the information that's contained within the memory of the water.
Hmm,
And that
gotcha.
memory of water is then created through the emotions and the thoughts that we have every single day, as well as the water that we ingest, which may also have memories. So then that ends up being communicated to, our entire nervous system to dictate the chemistry, or yeah, the chemistry reactions that are happening inside of our body. And what I discovered is that a lot of what's happening that we feel is only 20% chemistry, and the other 80% is electricity. And there's some scientists that actually discovered that if he approached things from the level of hydration, as a psychologist, if he medicated his patients based off of hydration, based off of giving them structured water, rather than altering their chemistry, which is only 20%, then he could basically solve schizophrenia, solve things like Alzheimer's, depression, anxiety. So basically, everything that the mental health system fails to actually address at the root, which on reality is hydration, and not just normal hydration of like, like quenching your thirst, but actually creating memory and conscious intentions within the water, so that it creates a healthy electrical reactions within the body.
Wow. Yeah, that's super deep. And this is something I've definitely been experimenting with and studying for myself for many years. And I've even thought about like some of these practices that are not really done by many people, like, with the age urine therapy that I've been doing for like 4 years. And when it comes to also like breast milk, I've heard a lot of things about that I'm eager to try at some point. And with the Amarita fluid, like you mentioned, like if you have a partner, apparently being able to drink that is like one of the most life-giving fluids that you can possibly ingest. And the cerebrospinal fluid as well is, once you do like all these different practices to awaken the Kundalini, um, like Joe Dispenza talks a lot about activating that cerebrospinal fluid through his methods. And I think what he gets his teachings from seems to be like a very ancient practice that has been taught by many lineages, where you're just like doing the microcosmic orbit breathing and like visualizing the energy going from the lower dantians all the way up the channels and up the spine, and then circulating around in a loop. And then eventually it will get the spinal fluid to go all the way up into the brain, into the pineal gland. And then you have like a full quote unquote Kundalini activation, where you get some like visuals that, stimulate your brain while the energy is like building up and rising. And I've had some experiences like that too. So I know like it's definitely a real thing, but like finding a way to combine all of those different practices and teachings, and just learning how to properly, you could say, hydrate, people that are dealing with those chronic conditions, is definitely a very promising field of study. And at our school, we're also doing some research into the effects of TM, of transcendental meditation, on patients that have chronic pain and conditions, because I was actually very interested to dive into it, because I've had experiences with my grandma and my great aunt that both had very chronic like pain that was going on all the time, and like nothing was helping them. But then sometimes, like if there was nothing that could help, not even like the most heaviest medications, I would just sit there and meditate with them and guide them through some, breathing practices and stuff like that. And that would be like the only thing that could actually alleviate the pain for them, and I feel like it does have a very strong effect. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. But let me ask you, so what is it that got you to want to look further into this at this current time?
Um, I would just say because well, I actually watched this rail yesterday. I was talking about the cerebral spinal fluid and its influence and basically all physiological processes through the central nervous system. And then having known that through the UT community that a lot of that urine is basically the amniotic fluid that we're basically dwelling in for those 9 months within our mother's wombs. And then also knowing that through a lot of the different forums that I've looked at, that urine is created, ormus is created within urine. And then knowing how ormus is created outside of the body, that's basically what led me down this rabbit hole. We're basically connecting, the internal environment to the external environment, so people are more able to see how ormus is it's genuinely a part of us from the state of when we were birthed and when we were created. But the ways that we create it are just simulating what has happened before within us. And that's that same principle of, well, basically what I follow, which is you don't really have to take alchemical ormus. You just have to facilitate an environment inside of yourself that actually gives you the ability to accumulate it. And then on top of that, you yourself don't have to take alchemical ormus. You can feed things that already create monoatomic elements with this alchemical ormus. And then by you doing that through the law of accumulation that ormus follows, it will just up the amount of accumulation that's already happening within microgreens or ferments or mushrooms by 3 to 4 times. And then also through that, you also get a full. I'm a person that likes whole foods. and full spectrum. So I don't feel like isolating things is of great benefit when you could just add it to things that give you a full spectrum of the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes that you need on top of the monoatomic elements that you are looking for to basically elevate your consciousness and build the light body and give you overall more power over your own longevity, your immune system, and things like that.
Oh, I see. Yes. So you saw a reel about this and it kind of got you to, look a little deeper into it. And yeah, it's definitely a huge topic that I've been studying for a long time. And I feel like, if we could find a way to kind of bridge the gap between all these different, lineages of teachings, like that's what I've been working to do right now, like within my school, and within what I share and post online is create, a way to, bridge the gap by showing the correlations between like the ancient Vedic science teachings about Kundalini awakenings and, what has been talked about by mystics from, like even in the religious teachings, like within the Bible and within the Quran, and how they talk about Christ activating, those hidden abilities or powers. And um, I feel like personally, like even the whole Bible, it gives tons of references to what you're talking about. And, you know, I think that's like one of the most powerful ways, even for, at least for me, to like know for sure that this stuff is real and see like how they've been promoting it in kind of subtle ways that we've known about that's been in all these ancient texts for thousands and thousands of years, and that Jesus and Muhammad and Moses and all these people in these religious texts were actually giving us instructions on how to have these activations and how to, create that type of harmony in the body. So I think it's a very topic, and um, I would love to know like what your goals are around this, like how you would like to promote and share it, or like what's the overall goal that you're aiming for.
Well, it's like, at least to me, it's like the level of um basically like the level of understanding, but bringing practicality to it. Because we have people who have followed Christianity for thousands and thousands of years, like ages. And same thing with other like modern day religions. And just being able to even, make those people think very deeply about what they've been following for ages, generations, and so on. That brings the level of real-time practicality, real-time application, other than through prayer, and prayer even as a form of meditation, um, and just bringing it to a level of like, these are things that we consume or are capable of consuming through the instructions of the scripture. So the way I see it is my end goal, at least for being able to spread the awareness of it, is whether you're consuming bread, you're consuming alcohol, or you're growing plants, or you're growing funguses to give to people for medicinal purposes. They're all consumables are interconnected in the system of being able to give you more of that soul matter that we originally came through with and were created with and created by, to interconnect us in this system of basically living to through like 900 years, thousands of years, or ages to eternity, and being conscious of that afterlife, being able to actually have even connection to the afterlife within our own physical vessels for the time that we are on the material plane, and just basically giving more people more options in regards to that, rather than them just living this 3D life, sure, happy, fulfilled, right? But also just giving them that option of like, well, if you were to add these ingredients to your bread or to your wine, to the creation of your wine or the creation of your beer or your ale, your grows, that you have more of a connection to the afterlife than you would if you were to just live regularly. And that's all in reflection to the sacred scriptures that they more than likely have followed for decades, ages, and generations. So it's really just inputting that puzzle piece that was already given to them that they kind of just looked over, and just putting it in a more practical sense of being able to live with it, live in line with it for like the rest of their lives, as well as their children.
So it sounds like you're teaching um, basically how to transcend out of the body using tools. And that's how I've always looked at psychedelics, was tools. And I actually look at food as psychedelics, because what you're doing is you're choosing specific organic compounds to synthesize and create alchemical processes within yourself. Um, Psilocin, for example, psilocybin goes to the stomach and then it evaporates into psilocin, and this gas goes into the brain, which is why you're able to think in so many different ways. And you normally would think your mind is taking different pathways because it has that assisted um, 12th dimension energy to it. Now, why 12th dimension energy? Because not all food is going to activate all chakras. Some things will resonate with different frequencies and domains more than others. And I want to just tap on this real quick, is they call it the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone is something that has been fabled to turn any material into gold. And yes, this is metaphorical as well as it is literal. It is very literal and it is metaphorical. And what it means is to be able to take anything and see it in all dimensions, to then have it become gold alchemically through the mind, because we have figured out the power of this thing, which is why we're transcending out of the body, because there is another power that we have that we're not using, which is the astral body. I teach about the cellular body, I teach about the self or the heart, and then I also teach about the celestials and how it's all one thing. And most everybody is stuck in the body. They have yet to break that cap, or that bridge, cap, mushroom cap. It's funny. They have yet to break through that cap, that bridge, that corona, that crown in the seventh dimension to the eighth, where they are connected to everything. And then ninth, which is that full realization of being everything, which is full astral body mode. And then the 12th dimension, which is when the astral body is one with the physical body through the perception of the person. This is becoming the cause rather than the effect, which is the key component to alchemy, is to choose to be the cause rather than an effect. So we're choosing our food tactfully based off of how our energies are aligned, because what's healthy for me may be detrimental to you. What's detrimental to you may be exactly what I need. So health is determined based on how much we know ourselves. So I stem from 0.1 to understand yourself. And then we transcend 1 through 9. And then we understand the cellular body, self, and the celestial body. And then we bring it all together with 10, 11, 12, which is when we reconstruct each of those pieces into an organized fashion, and you become enlightened, samsara, whatever you want to call it, Buddha, all these guys, Jesus. The reason why they had the halo on their head was because they did these very things that you're talking about. But they are tools. There is a point in time where you can do this through just the breath. And we know that we can stimulate and activate DMT in the pineal gland, since it's piezoelectric, through breath alone, to expand and contract it, to get it to activate them sparks of electricity to reach higher frequencies of understanding and thinking. And yes, the agenda is against that. But I'm glad that you're bringing this stuff up. It's critical.
Yeah, it's real easy to spread because way our modern day
It's for
society
everybody. It's for
is. Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
I tell people that my demographic is the soul. It's not, I don't have a demographic. There's not any person. It's when you're ready. It's when you're ready. You're all on the spiritual journey. You just may not acknowledge it yet. So these tools help us start to see beyond the veil, even if it's temporarily, so that we at least know that there's more, and we can begin to focus on maybe just reassess our value system, so we can focus on more relative things in our life, so that we can have an abundance of love, which will allow us to live in our truest authenticity day in, day out. You're allowed to have the next best day of your life forever, in infinity. You're allowed to do that.
Facts, bro. Man, everything is perfectly aligned. I didn't even realize that you had hopped on here, but we
Yeah, I've been
literally had
listening.
just started this call, and then you just hopped in with all of the gems that correlate exactly to what we're talking about. So everything's perfect, and we're on this portal day, so the vibes are very much elevated with the 222 and the full moon in Leo. My moon sign is Leo, so and I believe you're Leo too, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
my
know
progress chart is like all Leo, and then my moon is actually cusping Leo. My Mars is cusping Leo as well. And my North Node is in Leo, and my vertex is in Leo.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm in my Saturn return right now as well. So it is a very interesting time. But I tell people I'm just a catalyst. I'm only a catalyst. I can't do you for you, but I can help you tap into the best parts of you for sure. To the all common practices that all of us can do, but where it gets unique, that's where you need to have your connection to source. I can't tell you what God wants you to do. You got to learn how to see and communicate with God.
mm,
And that's what I'm a catalyst for. I'm not here to be Jesus or Messiah, any of that. I can only do that for myself, as everybody else can too. And you can also be your own devil. You can also be your own demon. You know,
mm,
it is what it is. So I don't go around looking to convince people or teach people of these things, but I have the Philosopher's Stone. And the Philosopher's Stone is able to go into any religion, any book, any science, anything that this universe has to offer, and reveal the gold, the truth to it. Why is gold resonant with truth? Why gold? What's so special about gold? Well, gold is the only element that has 100% electrical conductivity. That means it is not distorting the signal. It's not amplifying it. It's not making it 110, not 101, not 105. 100%. It's going to instantly transmit exactly what it received at the opposite end at the exact instant moment. So gold isn't valuable because it's pretty and it's cool. It's because of how useful it is. And then singular atomic gold, what it can do in the body, it's almost like it's enlightening and awakening you for you if you use it right, because gold literally removes toxins in its own nature. It oxidizes things you don't need. Gold is a very special thing. It removes lies, it removes BS, and it leaves clarity. Gold is cleaning itself at all times. Gold is also represented as the sun. The sun can't lie to you. The sun ain't
mm,
even twisting energy around. It's just pure vitality. Yeah, that's all it represents, is pure vitality and consciousness in
mhm,
itself. Everything else represents frequencies and domains. That represents all of them. So
mm,
you consider gold is 100% conductivity. And that's why they built Wardenclyffe Tower out of it. That's why the Pillar Ankh Jeds were made out of that, and that's why the pyramids were always made with gold involved. Is because it allows you to channel a message and give it for exactly what it is. It allows you to feel things and think things and let other people receive you for exactly what you meant. That's what the gold crowns were for royalty. And other people can have it because if you receive through the gold, you're receiving things for what they actually were. And this is also what the heart does, the biofield. So it's all a process of clarifying the toxins and the lies in your reality till you're left with nothing but truth, so you can be 100% conducive to life, not amplifying, not overdoing it, not underdoing it or diminishing it, but exact direct translation. Love is the key to authenticity. It's
facts.
gold. It's a golden heart.
Mm, sheesh. Man, breaking those codes down for us right now, man. Appreciate that.
And I'm
And
channeling now. I don't plan anything I'm
absolutely.
gonna say.
No, yeah. Everything just flows out exactly how it's meant to. And Brother Guy and I here, we've been tapped in with a lot of people that also make the monoatomic gold, and how you can use that in combination with Ormus and plasma GANs to synthesize these chemicals in your body that will allow that process of that Kundalini activation. You know, so we were talking before. I'm not sure if you had hopped on at that point, but about different types of fluids like the Amarita fluid, the urine inside of our body, how that's the alchemical gold that's even talked about in scriptures. Sorry, were you gonna go off on something?
Oh no, I heard also the amniotic fluid y'all was talking about, the spinal cord as well, and what that fluid really is and how what that correlates to in macrocosmic and microcosmic scales. Everything that you're seeing right here is reflected on macrocosmic and microcosmic scales, which is why something may contain more of something than another thing. It doesn't make it any right or wrong. You got to learn to see colors, sounds, and frequencies as domains and know that everything is being itself. And the gold is for you. The philosopher's stone is your pineal gland. It's for you to be able to see things and perceive things for what they are without distortion. And that's where unconditional love comes in as well. And if you can love unconditionally, you don't have to judge everything. Well, then there's your authenticity yet again. If you won't do that, if you're going to do that to other things, you're definitely doing it to yourself at certain dimensions. So if you stop doing it to other things and you start seeing things for what they really are, that's just reflecting how you look, how you're able to look at yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the, you know, like Midas, like turning lead into gold, like
Because lead is the effect, gold is the cause. That's what they
yeah,
represent.
yes.
Lead blocks transmissions, whereas gold purely sends it through for exactly what it was instantaneously. One piece of gold all the way to the furthest extent, billions and jillions of light years away. If you tapped it with this frequency, it's instantly at the other end, instantly, zero distortion. So imagine you put gold into the ground and you amplify telluric energy with a gold pyramid or Wardenclyffe Tower or hella Tesla coils made out of gold. It's not gonna mess up the frequency being amplified. It's gonna emit pure telluric energy. That was Wardenclyffe Tower. That is the pyramids, and they will increase kinetic energy thousands of times. So we're not ready for superpowers, bro. People aren't ready to stand next to a device that amplifies kinetic energy times 5,000 because your voice alone would destroy things. What do you think your thoughts would do?
Facts.
What do you
Yeah,
think a
bro.
hum would do? And 5,000 times kinetic energy, your vibrations, your voice, and lets you be in unison with other people who have gold crowns on and they're all thinking in the same exact time, moment, thoughts, frequencies. They're all truly in alignment. No need for judgment, all authenticity, pure frequency and resonance and harmony. It's not rocket science. It's not. It's actually, it's as elementary as it gets. It's just people just haven't put the pieces together, connecting the dots. And that's what media does. It distracts us. So people are busy at Pound Town with Sexy Red right now, rather than, focusing on monatomic gold.
Yeah, bro.
And
It's
their
a heavy
kids.
distortion.
Their kids. Like, you guys are doing this for your kids. You guys know you're doing this for your future families, kids, wives, and other humans that you may not even be connected to you at all. But you know why you're doing this, and it's bigger than you. You know you're not doing this for you. You're here to be an effect. Excuse me, you're here to be a cause. You're here to cause an effect. If these people will not be the cause, then you will be. I will be, right? I'm not going to wait on them to do what's right. I'm not going to wait on them for them to agree that what I'm receiving from the divine is true or accurate or not. It's for me to build that relationship with those parts of myself, to have that knowing. And that is what I was lacking majority of my journey, which is why I was so subjected to being abused and used and different things, and a very naive, very good heart, but no purpose. So yeah, I could turn lead into gold, but I'm giving gold away to the wrong people. A lack of purpose. So that's another thing I want to throw in there is like, yeah, we could talk about all these things that can help us and all these tools, but we got to know why we're using them. Because if we're using these tools just to tap in and then get out and then talk about cool shit for a little bit, that's kind of a problem. But if we use these tools to actually heal ourselves, to actually communicate with our loved ones and our friends and our families in healthy ways to show them love, then you will see that gold rubbing off.
Mm.
Then they'll look into it more. Then they'll be like, man, everything you've been talking about has stood the test of time. Everything I've been talking about has switched and changed. All right, man, I'm ready for that. Go ahead. What sign am I? Go ahead and tell me. Here's my birthday. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to that. It gets to that. People get to that point and they hit you up in secret too. They'd be like, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Can I please get a reading? I really need it right now. They hit you up in secret. You know,
Right.
they're like, nothing I'm doing is working anymore. You know, so what do? Do I give them the answers? No. I show them their purpose and I give them a choice.
Mm.
That's all I do is I just give them a choice. I give them information. I show them what the energies are doing and I give them a choice. And I tell them, you're going to show me who you are. I can't tell you who you are. I can tell you what the energies are. I can't tell you who you are. You're going to tell me that. And I can't wait to get to know you and learn from you. Student teacher.
Mm-hmm.
The best teacher is the best student. IMO.
Yeah, bro. Brother Guy is also very much in depth with the astrology, so I'm
I
sure
checked
that.
him out already.
Oh, wow, yeah. So for sure,
I went through everything else.
but I wanted to touch on that point that you said because I was reflecting back on this masterclass I did yesterday. It was about tax-free living, but in the masterclass, he said so many people nowadays are addicted to education, but not enough people are addicted to execution, you know? And like, we have to really be aware of that because, you know, like you said, like we are not going to claim like, oh, we can, you know, give you these activations and like all these type of healers and people that offer these services. A lot of them make those type of claims that, you know, if you follow these teachings, you do exactly how I say, or if you allow me to give you this healing, like I will be able to offer that to you. But the person has to be open to it. Like the vessel has to be properly prepared for it. And it's not for everybody. You know, these teachings right here are for the 144,000, you know, like the chosen few. And that's even something that they talk about, you know, in the Bible. And I know you're heavy on the matrix code and, you know, with the 369s as well. So, you know, all about that. And that's what the whole message in the Bible, you know, with those codes, with the 144, how it adds up to 9, is all teaching about that cycle of completion of, you know, reaching that full Christ consciousness activation, you know, and this is for souls in general, like you're saying, it's for all of humanity. You know, it's just about who is actually ready to integrate these teachings, you know. And
May I briefly build with you on that point right there?
yes, please.
144. So I'm glad you connected it to 9 and you've seen the relevance in the numbers, but why 144 specific? Because a lot of numbers add up to 9. 144 is 12 times 12. Okay. There's 12 dimensions of reality. And your DNA has 12 strands. They only account for about 2. And your DNA has 12 strands. And when you create the double helix, it becomes 12 by 12. When all of the DNA is activated, it creates 144 crystalline DNA activation. And this is what it looks like to us. It's the same thing as ascending through the Kundalini and the chakra, and you reach that lotus at the top. It's the same exact thing. Yeah, I digress. The 144,000 are in the chosen are those who choose themselves. They're the ones who have chosen to heal and activate their DNA in a 12 by 12 crystalline format. And that number probably will be resonant with like the actual number 144,000. And the 1,000 was to represent the legions and the macrocosm, microcosms of the angels and demons from the keys of Solomon. That's why they put the thousands in there. The thousands were different ways of measuring things beyond the earth scale. So they measured things in volume. So they accounted for empty space. They did things different back then. They used powers. They moved the decimal. They would move the decimal, the point. They would move their perspective to higher echelons or lower echelons. So that's what the thousands represent. The thousands represent not just the 12 by 12 DNA 144,000 is to represent the spirits, the angels and the demons. That's what they add up to, 72 and 72. 72,000, 72 and 72,000 makes 104. 72 demons, 72 angels, how they have it. And you put them together, it's your DNA. And King Solomon, the story of King Solomon, Saul on, is son, son, son. Saul on, son, 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 in 3 different languages. It's telling you you're the son in 3 different dimensions, acting as one name, Solomon, which is the master of them all. And that's exactly what Solomon was. Solomon was given the ability and the power of God to control even the devil himself and combine them and match them. What did Solomon do? He called out each demon and he matched them to an angel. Next demon, angel. Next demon, angel. And he built his temple with this. This is you. This is who you are. The story of Solomon is the story of you. And then Solomon was the 144,000. He was completely activated. He was even doing like magic. Problem with Solomon in the story was that he ended up abusing the power and ended up feeling what that felt like. He ended up worshiping some of those demons over time for their gifts because he thought he had enough control or too much control to where he played himself and stopped using the divine invocation of God and started using his own. And that was a problem. The same thing as Lucifer. Lucifer started thinking he was smarter than God, so he turned away. And there's nothing wrong with what God was doing. God had everything planned. That's what Lucifer didn't understand. The problem with Lucifer is that he thought he knew more than God. That is the actual problem in itself. How do you know more than the omniscient being that made you and everything you're going to do? You don't, but you're supposed to stay connected to it. That's what he didn't do. He disconnected from it and trusted himself. And that is the danger of separating yourself from the divine, from the heavenly angelic realms. That is an angelic being that has came down into the body and can only operate with the lower desires. It is no longer allowed to operate there. Those are the domains of the demons. They reside in the bodies. Whereas the heavenly angels, those are all things you have to call in. Those are all thoughts. That is all perception. You have to match them. You have to align them. Anything you're going through, you have to find the opposite of it and balance yourself. That is what astrology is about. Astrology is not about learning yourself and just seeing yourself. It's about transcending your chart. It's about balancing everything in your specific chart. That is your route to completion. And I use all forms of astrology at once, since they're all different dimensions of looking at the same one thing. Why separate them? I use everything collectively because there's truth in everything. Gold to translate that direct truth without too much muck or too much traumas or pains that come through the brain processing things. So that's why you want to heal even how the brain processes things. And that's where what's the main focus on the brain if you're going to focus on that? The pineal gland, the hypothalamus. That's what control and regulates the culture medium of your blood. So, direct spirit to body connections, back to back to back to back. Collective.
If I could add in, I just had a recommend as you were talking about Solomon, because the reason I've always resonated with Solomon is Solomon.
Bar. So he's here, but it's bar.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit.
I get
Oh, yeah. All right. I just want to drop this code as well, because the reason I always resonated so much with King Solomon is because he is the son of David, and David was the king of Judah. And I was just looking it up a little bit. I'm going to read it just because I felt called to, and I realized like, oh, this correlates directly with what we're talking about. The word Judah means to praise Jehovah. And Judah represents the spiritual faculty that corresponds to the increase in the mental, in the intelligence of the divine mind. And so it's all to do with prayer and praise. And instead of like supplifying or trying to pray to like repent or to call out to something outside of yourself, it's to give praise and to give thanks. And like a magnet, when we are able to quicken our mind and reach that higher faculty within the mind of God, we're able to draw things into our life and fulfill all of our desires in this world. And especially with this full moon, that's actually like what it's all about. And with this portal day, it's about drawing in all of the energies to manifest the relationship of your dreams, the money of your dreams, the life of your dreams. So it's no coincidence that we're talking about all of this right now, so I could go deeper into it, but I just had to bring that point up. But I want to give Jose
No
a chance.
coincidence at all.
Yeah. But I want to give you a chance, Jose, to tap in about this since you hadn't spoken a little.
No, I ain't got nothing figured out right now. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Man,
Yeah,
Jose,
'cause-
you one of them ones, bro. I think that me, you, and David, there's a reason why us three are in here, as he says these things. There's a lot of different things that we can come together and do. How y'all doing? One of the bigger things that I want to do, I want to get into is hey, can I only take the excuse me, to get to the gym? Can I only take the elevator? Stairs, where at? Just anywhere? Okay, thank you. I don't want it to go out on the elevator. You was who I was looking at earlier. You was the one I was seeing down the hall earlier. Oh, nothing. I just kept looking over there. I guess I felt your energy or something.
Okay.
You said what? Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so yeah. I think that we should really come together. I got a school. David got a school. It looks like you got a school. There's so many ways that we could do this. I relaunched my school on a similar app the last time, same app, but I redid it completely. I have different courses. I have all kind of different things. If anything, y'all keep running what you're running, but I would love to invite you guys to my school from time to time as teachers to teach certain things and whatnot, because I didn't know I was a teacher. I thought I was always a student, and then I realized I'm a teacher. People are always coming to me to learn what I have. There's things that y'all got that I don't. So it would be really cool to like just, keep the knowledge in action, keep it in motion. Leo is a very action-oriented energy, and it's a very starry, showy energy, and even Lion of Judah even. And to me, that means to stand with pride on this knowledge, regardless what people think. And you guys are reminding me, like, I am far from alone. Far from alone. I'll be thinking that sometimes, though.
Yes, absolutely, bro. We're all about that. And there's one point here I have to just say before we get too caught off. The kingdom of Judah also metaphysically represents the inner life force of man's organism. And, we're talking all about like the life force giving fluids and how to activate that to create the vitality. And within the kingdom of Judah, like the teachings that they focused on were to initiate students beyond the mind to gain a real comprehension of the character of these subjective energies that have to do with the life force, and like instead of just recognizing what we learn in science about how the heart beats and the blood circulates and the digestion that goes on to create these fluids, we learn that there is an intelligence that transcends the intellect. And if we can tap into that intelligence, that divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that will allow us to, gain access to these highest states of consciousness, such as Brahman consciousness and God consciousness, and in those states, there's really no limitations. It's the only limitations is what the mind puts on itself. And we're just like in those beginning stages, because we're going through cycles through humanity's phases right now, and we're going from the dark age into the golden age. So we're definitely here to be the ones to bring in all of that for the collective. And so yeah, we just have to really come together, like you said, and not only share these teachings, but like come together and discover what are these tools that are going to really help ourselves and humanity for that, and doing this grid work, like Brother Guy's all about like doing this grid work, to have all the people that are, in these different fields connected and, working towards this higher goal. And then the manifestation power just increases by the numbers with each person that joins, in this school where I'm at right now, Maharishi International University, has a whole campus of like 10,000 people that are all on this path. So it's like such a blessing. And I'm taking a class called Higher States of Consciousness as well, and my final project's due tomorrow. So I'm gonna actually use part of this for my presentation. So everything is aligned.
Do it.
And
My
yeah,
thing is, man, I don't know. That's amazing. The moment you said that, it made me think like, I wonder what that school does teach. I wonder if they're missing pieces at all. And then I'm wondering what pieces they have that I may be missing. And it makes me think like, if you're connected to a community like that, bro, that can rub off into so much. Like imagine if everybody who went to college together and built businesses or whatnot after college stayed together and used all of their acumen for building, taking over. You know,
yes.
one school could really do that if you think about it. If money isn't necessarily the thing, it's not really money, and it's not really even knowledge. You
Mhm.
know, it's neither of those things. It's always going to come back to what's actually really important here: community.
Mm.
That's it. The knowledge is for that. You know, the money is for that. The community is everything. I don't care how much money you have, you will not be able to cycle it or make use of it if it does not have a stream, it does not have motion. And electric, magnetic. Okay, electric, magnetic. You got energy and you got motion. Okay, but when you get electromagnetism, you have something known as purpose, a reason, common unity, a reason why people are going to come together and use their resources, their money, and their minds to do what with? That is the middle point. That is what we're creating. Light is always going to be creation. Neutral, that positive, negative is always going to be a creation zone, or these are always going to be faculties of life to consider. And even within themselves are working together, but because nothing is stagnant. However, electricity, it's by itself is just static. Until electricity is in motion, do you get life? Do you get light in itself? Do you get sound in itself? So community, and this is what the term is in physics. It's amperes, amps.
Mm.
You have, you know, you got your wattage and you've got your voltage, and they mean nothing. You can have 1,000,000 watts. I mean, excuse me, that's the combination. You can have 1,000,000 volts, million
Mhm.
volts. If there's no amps, there's no current for those millions of volts to flow through. It's nothing. You can sit there touching that 1,000,000 volts and it does nothing because there's no current. But the moment
Mm.
you put 1 amp to that 1,000,000 volts, now has the
Mm.
current. Now it's in motion.
Mm.
That very one little amp can change everything. And this gives you your wattage. This gives you the power of things. It's the balance of amperes and voltage. And
Mhm.
you're going to notice that. So what am I saying here? Voltage, let that be your money. Okay.
Mm.
Let your amperes be your frequency.
Mhm.
Okay. The light that you create from those two things is beautiful. You can make so much as a community. We can really come together and do so much with our resources, with our energy, not just money, but our energy, plus our energy on a certain frequency. Oh boy. Yeah, we can vibrate into a beautiful reality from that space. You know, they're never not existing together. We're still using these faculties. However, through not being conscious of it, we're creating things that are destroying ourselves and our communities side by side. I mean, I do it all the time. I listen to Young Nudie, I listen to Sexy Red, I listen to all of them, and they're all speaking absolute trash to our communities and our children. And it's not like it's them. You got to understand what's behind them. You see, we're fighting a large amount of energy on a very low frequency. How do you beat that? Well, you can have a little amount of energy at a very high frequency. You know, always win. Always
Absolutely.
win. Higher frequencies multiplies by thousands. By thousands. It literally is exponential in its growth and its declination as well. So you'll notice if you're at a very high point in life and then you start falling off, it's gonna hurt.
Mhm.
You're gonna fall off bad. But if you don't even start trying to be in a spiritual journey, it don't matter if you're falling off. You're in the same spot. You're in
Mhm.
the same place. You ain't even changed your frequency. So who really cares? You know, most people would rather ride the wave of what the masses have created from their frequency and usage of that energy. Most people would rather ride the wave than to change it. or to raise it. And that's where frequency work comes in. That is why we want to focus on knowledge. That is why we want to talk about knowledge. That is why we want to sit here associating knowledge, is because it is what allows us to shift our frequency. More information, in especially in alignment with truth, can give us more neutral perceptions rather than optimistic or pessimistic. You're always supposed to be realistic.
Mm.
I'm getting a phone call. I'm not going to take this phone call. But yeah, I digress. That yet again is me using energy, frequency, and vibration yet again to explain how the universe works. 0.1 equals 3. 1, 2, 12 equals 3. 1, 2, 3 collectively act as 1, which becomes 4. 3 by 4 is 12. And you'll always see these numbers coming together in a completion. 12 will always represent completion, truly. Even your first dozen is at 12. You know, and this is what this is all to do, is to acknowledge the different faculties. The physical body is your energy. The mental body is your frequency, whereas your astral body is your vibration. And you are living in your astral body more than anything. You think you're in the physical body. You're not. You're not the physical body, bro. It's like a robot. That's like saying David is my phone right now. You're not. You're in the phone. You're transmitting through it though. And who you truly are is a transmission. That's why you can come through my phone without your body. It's pure vibration. That's it. So when they're all cohesive, imagine having me in person, having us in person, the physical body, and is in alignment with how we're perceiving, is in alignment with our highest self. People are going to feel you in the room. They're going to feel your energy with no words. They're going to do the right thing around you because they know your energy, your light is going to expose their dark. They will wait until they get back into their little dark corners to do their little BS stuff that is destroying themselves. And they know it, but they won't do it around you. I'll tell you that much. And that is the best protection I think you could do for yourself. They call it God's armor. It's your field. Your field's high enough, things cannot mess with you. Things will literally be repulsed from you. And only certain things can harmonize with you. So it'll be less friends because of the age we're in, but you win in the end because that's where we're going. That's where we're going. The communities are going to fall off. The communities are going to fall together. Whereas I've been saying this, knowledge, information, intelligence is the new way. It's the new way. It not only is it going to trend, but it's in alignment with what the universe is doing. Truth is going to trend, bro. I'm telling you. People are tired of listening to the stupid music, bro. They're tired of it. They're getting sick of it. I'm watching them. The kids are getting sick of it. It's played, bro. It's done. It's not fun to rap about lean anymore. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
for
fun
sure.
I mean, 3 or 4 babies later, rapping about Pound Town don't sound like a good idea anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched my baby mamas teach her daughters how to shake their ass before she ever read them their chart. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a point about that since you brought
But
up
when
the chart.
I'm around, you think they did that when I'm around? When I'm around, what happened? They're going to bed on time. They're cleaning up after themselves. They're looking twice before they do something they know they're not supposed to. Because why? I spend my whole day in alignment. There's not a moment I talk where it's not a channel. You know this, bro. I can't fucking help the shit. I really can't help it anymore. I really be trying to talk normal. I cannot do it, bro. For the love of me, I just got to teach. I got to just expose truths. I got to connect pieces and dots. I can't just say hi. I can't do regular things anymore. So when I show up around places now, what I've seen is that there's a choice. Either I be quiet and I let y'all do what you're doing and you still feel my light in the room, or we talk about that light and we harmonize there. It's one or the other. I don't exist anywhere else. You know, and I think I'm saying that as an example, you know, just to say like, hey, that's God's armor. That's what happens when you elevate, when you really wake up from a true space, when you really do real work and real healing. You become immune to toxicity. You become immune to trauma. And it's funny, it can tell when you see it. It's almost like trauma knows when you can see through it.
Mm.
There's certain girls I talk to now, they don't even try shit with me no more. There's certain things they just don't even try no more. It doesn't make sense. Like, don't try to emote, no guilt trips, no traumas, no emotion this, no negative talk, no broke talk, no manifesting the worst, none of that. It's just not, it's not what I do, it's not where I'm at. I tell my girls, I'll say, hey, you hear me saying broke shit, you hear me saying I can't afford this, you hear me saying I can't anything, go ahead and just slap. Yeah, correct me, yell at me, cuss me out there, because then I'm gonna be like, no, you're right. I'm always gonna tell you you're right for correcting me on being low vibrational, even in the smallest degree. So what do people do? They stay the fuck away from it. It's easier. It's easier. And the ones who you are around, they're teachers, they're students, they're healers, they're people who are actually making the change. So on my videos today, we're not about really seeking validation from people or worrying about what too many other people are doing, whether it be right or wrong. And to literally put as much focus as you can onto, are you doing what you need to do for yourself? Great, you're teaching. Great, you're doing this. Great, you're doing that. But are you doing what you uniquely need to do? We can all talk about what we all got to do, but you know what it is that you got to work on. And every day you wake up knowing you got to work on it. By the time you go to sleep, did you do it? And this tattoo represents, if you at least do 1% every day, that's the minimum. Success, 1% growth every day. That's all you need. One year, like one moment of success. To me, success is accomplishing what you said you were going to accomplish. Having an intention and seeing it through. That's success to me. Having an intention and not seeing it through is not success to me. If I want to have a successful day, I need to be conscious about what I'm doing with my energy and do it. And I don't care if it was small or if it was just a small increment towards that big goal. I was successful today. I took a step towards my purpose. I won 1% or not. Give it a year, 360 degrees. Give it a year. It's a large percent. It's full turnaround. You can change your life with 1% of purpose a day. You'll be amazed. And that is my main focus. I don't like people pointing out other people's flaws as if it gets away from their own. I don't like when people try to bring other people down for a moment to make it seem like they're higher up than they really are. You're not lying to me. You're not convincing me I ain't shit. You're just telling me how you look in the mirror. This is what you see when you look in the mirror, is what you're going to say to me. That's it. What you think of me is what you think of this frequency in your mind. Why you probably stay away from it yourself, or why you may go towards it because you see that in yourself. You know what? I like that highest piece of me, and I see that in him. I need to spend more time with him. These other people who got me wasting my time and energy and don't care about me, my family, or my well-being, or my health, I got to let them go. Yeah, and there's more of them. There's 20 of them, and they're all kicking it. But you got one person who you can talk to every day who's gonna make sure you want in your bag. What you gonna choose? Remember, that one person is exponentially more valuable than those 20 people. So while there may be 20 of them, this one person's worth 100.
Mm-hmm.
Be that person, bro. Always. Always. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying we need this. This is what it's about. This is what our kids need. This is what our friends need. Our friends need this. I know this is being recorded, so hopefully this reaches somebody who needs to hear it. You know, it's bigger than we. It's bigger than us. But that's why we got to do the best we can for ourselves. I can't do the best for you. You can't do the best for me. I got to do the best for me, period. And I can only hope that you do the best for you. And hopefully me doing it for myself is an example enough. And that is Leo energy. Leo energy is the opposite of Aquarius. It teaches through expression, whereas Aquarius teaches through interpretation and explanation. Two different things. We're Aquarius right now. When we're a Leo is when I'm showing you how to make the juice. Is when I'm out here. We're kind of Leo-ish right now, actually, no cap, because of our identities. We identify with this. This is who we are. Bro's name is Brother Gaia. You know, my name is Solar. Bro, your name is Jesus. Like, your name is fucking Jesus. Like, come on, we're not no small fry here. It's just because we're not seen. We're not seen, bro. But you don't remember everybody in society. You remember the greats. You remember the philosophers. You remember the ones who made a change to the collective conscious.
Mm. exactly. That's what I was just gonna say is like, even if, we're not being fully seen by all those that, could be to the scale that we would want to be, which we will be very soon. But, right now, even just imagine all the thousands of people that are going to see this when we post reels and realizing that community is the real currency. Like that, we're entering into a new age where these people at the top who are hoarding all of their wealth are being seen, by the masses for what they're doing. That's, like keeping all of us stuck in poverty, and the gap between the lower class and the upper class is widening more and more by the day. Ever since COVID, there was like 100 new billionaires that were created, and it just made things even more difficult for people in the lower class. And if you look at what's going on in the government, they're planning something really big right now to create the biggest split in humanity's history that we've ever seen. That's going to make it so that people at the bottom that haven't gotten this knowledge, don't know how to play the game, are going to be stuck there. And so that's why this is the most important
That's
time
why
to,
I do Forex.
yeah, absolutely. Forex is like one of those major keys that can help anybody, no
It's the
matter where
world's
they're at.
economy. It's the world's energy pool. The world, not the
Yeah,
countries. The world's energy pool. You can see everything that's going on in the world through the market, especially Forex market.
yeah. No, the Forex, like, especially if you dissect it in a spiritual sense, and there's this guy, Iso the God, that I just have to mention that, like, is so good at breaking down the Forex markets and how it correlates to things going on with gematria and, different world events, that if you really decode them, you can see how there is a script that's being played out through gematria. And gematria is comes from the Kabbalah, which is ancient, Jewish mysticism. And I have to just say this one last point that came up for me. I had an immediate thought when you were bringing up about the number 12 and how it's the number of completion. I remembered how I had this conversation with someone else before, and it was in regards to astrology and the significance of 12 in astrology. And then I looked it up just now, and I realized I'm going to go back to it, that um, the 12 tribes of Israel are what most of the astrology that we see today comes from. And so what and something else that blew my mind that I just have to say right now is that if you look at the correlations between the 12 tribes of Israel and each zodiac sign, you find that the King Judah, or the kingdom of Judah, was correlated to Leo, and we're in the full moon in Leo. So there's no coincidence that we're talking about this right now. and
Heavenly kingdoms. There's many mansions. It's celestial transits and celestial bodies. They're more alive than you, bro. They're more alive than you. They're so alive that they need you to experience themselves.
yeah,
So they're available frequencies, and the universe is going to go through its cycle without us choosing. Even if we didn't have gematria, we would still be playing out a number script. That's the irony. These things that we're creating are to help us perceive what's going on. Um, universe is doing this, even aside from the enemy. They're a part of that. That is the energy known as Set. There's actually also 2, 5, 8, and 11. And 5, Leo. It's very interesting. The age of Leo is actually one of the darkest ages that there are as well. The age of Leo is where you'd see like giant creatures with blood and fangs, and you'd have to like literally, there ain't no talking. Ain't no talking. That's a holy war, like for real, like on some Diablo video game stuff, Helldiver stuff. Where that's the age of Leo. We know nothing about that, bro. we won't have to. That was like 26,000 years ago. We're good. That's about 22,000 years ago. We're good on that. But that is actually the age of Leo. 2, 5, 8, and 11. They represent splits. They represent portals. And it's funny that you're saying this moon is Leo. You're going to see many people not only like doing what we're doing, like really exuding that sense of self in the higher self, but you're going to see people doing that in the lower self too. But what the way it's going to look with the moons and the transits, and the theme of the next 100 years being justice of Libra, you're going to notice that all the people who are choosing that are only going to get more pain, more suffering, more illnesses, more stiffness, more loss, more this, more that. Even if it looks like them getting more money, they're losing more life and more love. And that's what you're seeing right now. The people who are not choosing to be on this frequency during this transit, the universe is doing this, is having this energy. So what side of it are you on? So there's transits and then there's you. And then there's your free will within you. There's a higher self and a lower self to everything. And we're choosing clearly to be in a higher self of things. And it's how many people in here versus what was 100 people in my IG just a second ago because they want to know about a court case. They're more concerned about somebody else's fate than their own. And that is to show you when in this Leo energy to be acting Aquarian, putting all your focus and your attention onto what other motherfuckers got going on, you're doing the reverse of what's being asked of you right now. You are literally moving ass backwards. This is the time to be embodying what you know. And you don't have to be as high frequency, quote unquote, as us. You just got to be authentic. Ain't that what Leo about? Identity and authenticity. And I'll say this last piece. Love is important, but love is the key to authenticity. Love isn't the end all be all. Love is something, it's an action. And it's something that you have to show and have for yourself. It is an ability to perceive things for what they really are. And when it becomes unconditional love, now you can call yourself authentic because you're no longer projecting. Now you can experience things for what they are and respond from who you are. If you can judge something neutrally for what it is, you think you're going to judge yourself? You think you're going to be fake? No. And even if you manipulate and master your own energies, that's not fake. That's called alchemy. That's called self-mastery. Most people can't control their own emotions if they wanted to. Age of Leo versus Aquarius. You got to balance the two. So what would we do? We'd go online owning that God frequency and sharing that. Whereas what? The opposite end, Aquarius, they out there embodying what the collective has taught them, not what they've taught themselves. Not what they've taught themselves, but what they've been taught. Repeating what they've heard rather than coming up with something to say. That is the polarity of Aquarius and Leo. And the moon being here, it has a lot to do with the soul over, how could I say, the body. This is actually one of the highlighted celestial bodies to calculate your north node. And the north node is that dragon that I always talk about. This goes straight into your Kundalini energy. Now we getting somewhere.
Yeah.
All of this knowledge is applicable. That's the problem. Some people stay the fuck away from it because you have to change your life. It's the last thing niggas want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Last thing niggas want to do. And I say
Hey,
niggas.
brothers, I'm gonna have to hop off here.
Oh, you
Go
have to
ahead.
get
Yeah, I'll have to tap in with y'all later if you want.
I got a question for you, bro. Real quick before you head out.
Yeah.
So
Let's go.
what is your business? What is your school? How could I work with you moving forward?
Well, at present moment, I'm just doing the consultations, right, for people who are into this knowledge. But what I'm looking to do after having to organize all of those things for them through notes is launching a course. Launching several courses, actually. So I could definitely tap in on that level of being a teacher for on your platform as well as vice versa on you on my platform. So
on my platform, I run subscriptions. So the way that I
gotcha.
run my subscriptions, the numbers scale really high. So look at it like this. Every 100 people is $10,000 a month. So every 1,000 people is 100 bands a month, basically,
Wow.
because it's subscriptions. But that's only tier 2. I have tier 3, which is 300. So 100 people on tier 3, that's 30 bands a month. Then you
Gotcha.
do that times 1,000, that's 300 bands a month. You're talking 1 million to 3 million annually off of just subscriptions. I'm not talking about merch. I'm not talking about music streams. I'm not talking about AdSense. I'm not talking about any of those other things. Not even personal consultation, because I put my consultations at 100 an hour at this point, and that's low. I used to pay $250 an hour. So I've scaled it to where it's more than what I've received from any of those courses I've ever paid for. Number one. Number two, it's cheaper than all of them. I
Mhm.
just know that I've done this before. It's been successful. My pricing was literally 66% higher the last time I did it, and it was successful. David knows it was successful. It was just less people, but they were
Right.
dedicated and they were there every day, like it was school, because it is. And I would like to offer that platform to you. If you would like to bring your following, your people over to my platform, that's just money in the bank for all of us. What we do with it is what we do with it. For me personally, I would write a contract and I would give you a split. I have a way that I set my roles up in my school. I have my own app. Like David, like I said, I'm still using Heartbeat, and they have raised the price because they found their own value.
Right.
So they went from 20 a month to 50 a month, and I'll pay it. And the school's worth it, bro. I can send you guys some links since you sent me a link. I'll send you guys some links. DM me. All right, do me a favor, Gaia. DM me, send me the link. And David, DM me, send me the link. And I'm gonna send you guys a tier 3 link so that you can see, you have access to everything in my school, in my app, and you can see how it works. And I can put you in a role where you're in my counselors, and I can consult you guys before I have my classes. And we'll have our own private rooms and all that stuff where we store our data before we present it to the masses. So I have an entire system you would love to, I think you'd love to look at. Let's do better. Let's do better. Tomorrow, okay, the day after tomorrow, can we get this down? The day after tomorrow, let's set up another call, and I'll do a video call, and I'll let you guys see from my screen as you guys have the app, so you can operate on your own screen as well, and I'll show you everything. Send me the link. Got you, bro. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm just about to be busy as fuck right now.
I got you.
All right,
All
love
right.
you guys, man. Hey, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah.
Same here.
I love you, man. This
Nice to
is
meet you, Gaia. Nice to meet you, brother.
Definitely, brother.
Solar, Gaia, Solar, and Jesus just walking around in this motherfucker.
God's in the flesh. You already know.
God's in the flesh. Hey, I love y'all. I'll tap in with y'all, man.
Peace.
Thank you. Oh,